Today we'll be telling the story of Saint Charbel Makhlouf, whose feast is celebrated on July 24th. Saint Charbel was born on May 8, 1828, in Beka Kafra, Lebanon. He was one of 5 children and was raised in a faith-filled home. As a boy, he tended his family's flock of sheep. He wanted to spend his days in prayer, so he placed a statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary into a small grotto in the mountain and would go there to watch his sheep and pray. At the age of 23, Charbel left his family and entered the Lebanese Maronite order at the monastery of Our Lady in Mayfouk. He made his final profession in 1853. Charbel lived in community for many years, but desired to go live as a hermit at the hermitage of Saints Peter and Paul. At first, his superior did not want him to go, but after witnessing a miracle, the abbot changed his mind and let Charbel move. He spent the last 23 years of his life there as a hermit, until his death on Christmas Eve in 1898. Following his death, there were many reports of a bright light coming from his tomb. After inspection, it was found that he was incorrupt, and many miracles began happening. Saint Charbel was canonized by Pope Paul VI on October 9, 1977. Saint Charbel is the patron saint of Lebanon. Now it's time for our story. The monastery was always extra busy around harvest time. Volunteers from town came to help work in the field, and everyone was expected to do what they could to help keep things running smoothly. That day, 30 extra workers had come. So Father Charbel volunteered to watch the goats while the harvesters ate dinner at the monastery. He enjoyed the time out in the fields alone. In fact, Father Charbel had felt God was calling him to go and join the hermitage of Saints Peter and Paul, but his superiors didn't agree. He had asked multiple times, and each time he got the same answer: no. So Father Charbel continued working with the same devotion as before, and had left the rest in God's hands. If it was truly God's will, he would help him. As the sun set, Father Charbel put the goats away for the day and came back inside. Taking time away from his usual schedule to watch the goats meant he still had work left to do that night. And so Father Charbel went to his room to get his oil lamp. It was empty, and he knew he would need it full in order to finish the work he had left to do. He carried it into the dining hall, which was still very full of people, to find the cellarer, who usually filled the oil lamps. But the poor cellarer had been working all night feeding the volunteers and was tired and grumpy. "Why didn't you come during the day?" he grumbled. "I was with the goats in the field," Father Charbel replied. "Humph," said the cellarer. "I don't care. I'm not giving you any oil tonight. Go away." Father Charbel wasn't one to argue, so he turned and went back to his room. 2 other brothers who had seen what happened thought it would be funny to play a trick on Father Charbel. They knocked on the door to his room and asked for his oil lamp. "We can fill it for you," they said. "The cellarer was just in a bad mood, but we can convince him." Father Charbel thanked them and handed them his lamp. The 2 monks snickered and snuck into the kitchen. There, they filled his lamp with water. Then they brought the lamp back to Father Charbel and hid behind the door, peeking through a crack. They couldn't wait to see him try to light the lamp full of water. He would be so frustrated. It would be so funny. Father Charbel took the lamp, set it on his table, struck a match, and lit the wick. It caught immediately and burned brightly. The 2 monks looked at each other in disbelief. How was his lamp burning? They had filled it with water. Father Charbel, who had no idea about the trick, happily began his work for the night. Confused, the 2 tricksters ran off to find the superior. "What do you want?" the superior said when he saw the 2 men sheepishly approaching. "Well, you see, we thought it would be funny to play a trick on Father Charbel," they began, and the superior's face scowled. "But," they continued, before he could scold them, "it didn't work. We filled his oil lamp with water, thinking it would be funny to watch him try to light it, but instead he did light it, and it's burning as if it's full of the finest oil." Now the superior, who was ready to punish them for their silly trick, looked intrigued. "It burns like there's oil in it? I want to see this for myself." The three men made their way to Father Charbel's room and knocked on the door. "Come in," Father Charbel called. The three men entered, and the superior explained why they were there. "And now I want to inspect this lamp myself," he said. Opening the top of the lamp and dipping his finger inside, the superior found that it was in fact filled with plain water. "Amazing," he said, looking up at Father Charbel. "Did you know this was full of water and not oil?" "No," said Father Charbel, shaking his head. The superior tried to light the lamp, but couldn't. It wouldn't work. He handed it back to Father Charbel and instructed him to light it. And just like before, Father Charbel quickly and easily lit the lamp as if it was full of oil. The superior's eyes grew wide. "A miracle," he said. "God truly must find favor with you, Father Charbel. I know that we said we weren't sure if we should fulfill your request to go to the hermitage, but clearly God is working in you. I will approve your request in the morning." Father Charbel smiled and thanked him. And then, after they left, he finished his work and his prayers by the light of the miraculous oil lamp that burned water. The story of Saint Charbel and the oil lamp reminds us that God is working in our lives even when we aren't aware of it. Saint Charbel, pray for us.